Yeah.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Ala's World of Finance and welcome to Stock Market Daily. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. We've got quite a few things to talk about today and some really interesting stuff. But I do just want to let you know really quick that I am recording this video on Wednesday night. It's almost midnight, but I'm recording it late today because I'm in grad school and I was at school all day and I didn't have time to make a video, but I'm making it now. And it will be uploaded on Thursday morning. So by the time that you're watching this, some of these numbers can obviously change and things like that, but just keep that in mind. But we've got some really cool stuff to talk about. So we're going to talk about Snapchat and how they basically acquired this social mapping application called Zenly. We're going to talk a little bit about the market because we saw a couple of things happen here. Oil went down, energy went down, tech kind of went up. We'll talk a little bit about it. And but really, guys, we got to start with AMD because AMD is just on fire. And I know I talk about AMD a lot, but there's some really important stuff going on. And for the day, they're actually up over 11%, just massive, guys. And then for the past week, they're up almost 25%. So just incredible numbers. So what's going on with AMD? Well, I mentioned in my previous video that they're starting to release the EPYC parts for the data center. Well, they had this this event in Austin so that they could launch the EPYC and they could talk about it and talk about the performance and stuff. Well, the performance was just amazing. They had benchmarks, they were showing numbers, everything was just outstanding. The EPYC, obviously, when we talk about the EPYC, we're obviously talking about 8 to 32 core server processors. We're also talking about a price tag of around $400 to up to $4,200. And but what really caught my eye during this announcement is their partners. They have some really big partners that are already partnering up with them, and it's just incredible. And some of these partners in the data center market are going to be Microsoft Azure. This one I actually don't know much about, but I think it's called Baidu, but I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. But Dell EMC, HP, Samsung, Supermicro, Lenovo, Gigabyte, Asus, and more. So, I mean, it's just incredible. They're already having some momentum. And this was really interesting. So, Canaccord, Genuity, I think it's Genuity. So, sorry for my pronunciation there. But they were talking about this, and they're basically saying that they expect AMD to make under $100 million in EPYC revenue in 2017, so this year, but they think that will continue to increase, and that's already a good number, but it's going to keep increasing. 2018 is when we'll really start to see some high revenue numbers, and then they expect it to be over $1 billion, an over $1 billion server business for them by 2020. So that would just be amazing. And they raised their price target to $20 per share. So just some really good stuff. And we've seen other analysts raise their price targets. And so that's really just driving up AMD stock right now. And so like I mentioned, past week, almost up 25%. In the day, up 11.47%. Their 52-week low was $4.65. That was like a year ago, back in June of last year. 52-week high was at $15.55 back in February. And then as of today, they were after hours trading and all that, after trading closed, they were up to $14.09. And that was today. And I actually had a few comments asking me whether they should still invest in AMD. I get this a lot with Nvidia as well, because Nvidia has had great numbers too. And I can't, obviously I can't tell you guys what to do. This is just my opinion. But if I wasn't invested in AMD already, because I am obviously, but if I wasn't already invested in AMD, then I would look at AMD and even Nvidia the same. I would look at those and I would probably invest in them, but I would have to, I think I'd be more of a long-term investor, especially with AMD, because I think that they have some great stuff coming up. And when we look at these numbers by 2020, some of these predictions, I think they have some really good stuff coming up. So I really like AMD for the long term. So even though they're really high right now, I would probably pick some up. But since AMD can be a little volatile, I would probably pick up more stock on the dips. They have an upcoming earnings call, so maybe in July if their stock kind of dips a little bit, but I don't really see that happening. But if it does, then I would obviously pick up more stock. But since AMD tends to be one of those volatile stocks, I would obviously just keep picking up on dips, and that's actually what I have been doing with AMD. I've been picking up more and more stock on AMD. If you look back at some of my older videos, I talk in some of my older videos, like every time AMD would dip, I would make a video and I would say, like it dipped again. And I'd be like, well, so what did I do? I actually I bought more stock. And so I would just keep adding to my stock. And that's what I do, guys. When I really like a company, I study them like crazy, and I do all the research, and I make sure I know what stock, what company I'm investing in. And once I know that, then I go long term. And when they take dips, I buy more. But that's just my strategy. But it's been working for me. I'm doing really well with Nintendo. They've even been a little volatile, and I picked up on dips and stuff like that. It's been working very well with AMD. Disney hasn't been doing too well, but some of my other stocks like BlackBerry, they've been doing really, really well. And even they have some dips too, but I've also picked up on dips. So anyway, I'm just saying that's just kind of my opinion. That's just kind of how I play the stock market. So I don't know, some people were asking me that, so I kind of just wanted to share my opinion on that. Okay, so some other news. In the market, we saw that the Dow is down 0.27% for the day, S&P 500 down 0.06%, and then the NASDAQ is actually up 0.74%. Now, some energy and industrial stocks actually went down. And when we look at energy, so the energy sector was down 1.6%, and it's down for the third straight session. So not doing too well. So what's going on here? Well, U.S. oil production is actually going up, and so U.S. crude oil is dropping, okay? So it dropped another 2.3%. And the concern that we have here is that we're going to have an oversupply, okay? So that's the concern that we're having. And this is bringing the price down. And so the price right now is at $42.53 per barrel, and that's kind of what's hurting some of these energy stocks, some of these oil stocks. Okay, and then the tech sector is actually up another 0.7%. And we had Adobe Systems and Red Hat, they actually beat earnings, and they had some pretty nice numbers. So I don't want to go too in depth because it would be a really long video, but they actually did have some pretty good earnings, and they beat expectations and stuff like that. So their stocks went up. Okay, last thing I want to talk to you guys about today is Snapchat, because so Snapchat actually acquired this social mapping application. And so this application is called Zenly, and it was being used, I believe it was being used in France. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was in France mostly, and but kind of Europe and some Asia markets too. It was being used. But this application was cool because it's like a social application, and basically friends can keep track of each other. And so if they're at a concert, or if they're at places where it's easy to get lost and things like that, they can basically keep track of each other. And so they have a map, and they can see where everybody is on that map. Well, Snapchat actually acquired them, and now Snapchat actually has some very similar functionality where it's basically the same thing. You can kind of see where some of the users are and things like that. And it looks very similar. If you compare it to the Zenly application, it actually looks very similar. So that kind of raised some suspicions, and after doing some deeper investigation by some other firms and stuff like that, they were able to find out that Snapchat did actually acquire Zenly. And I wasn't able to get an exact price on it, but some of their estimations were from $250 to $350 million. And that is a lot of money, but I think that it's actually very good for them. They did this in late May, by the way, but I think this is very good for them because this will basically help them diversify against their competition. So we've seen how Facebook and Instagram, they're basically trying to copy Snapchat, right? So now Snapchat will have another thing that is a little different and kind of help them diversify in that sense. And the potential that I see in this is that, think about it this way: if you and your friends are trying to organize certain events and organize, getting together, so you see that your friends are in certain areas and you want to get together, and it's all kind of like a geolocation type of thing, then this is a great opportunity for advertising. Because if all of you guys are near a movie theater, then that's a perfect opportunity for advertising a movie theater. If you guys are near a restaurant, that's a perfect opportunity for advertising a restaurant. So they can basically implement this into geolocation advertising, right? So I think that there is a lot of potential in that. So I see it as a good move. And I really like how Snapchat is kind of diversifying themselves in this sense with now this application, but also I've talked about in the past how they're doing some stuff in the drone market. And so they're kind of doing these little things to help them diversify against their competition and it's a very smart move because their competition is basically copying them. And if their competition does it better than them, they could kind of run them out of business. And we know how big Facebook and Instagram is. So those are big competitors that you have to take seriously. So I think that these are good moves by Snapchat. Just my opinion, but we'll have to see if it really works out for them in the long run. So for the past month, Snapchat is actually down 14.35%. Past week, down 2.54%. And in the day, they were down 0.35%. So they continue to struggle, but I'm not picking up any more stock in Snapchat. I'm waiting until the end of July. I've mentioned it in previous videos, so I won't go into that. But they're basically, right now, they're near their 52-week low. So that was back, their 52-week low was actually very recently, it was like about a week ago, right? So, and they're just barely above that at $17.25. So anyway, that's basically all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, hit the like button. By the way, I just want to say this really quick. I did actually order the OnePlus 5. So it's a phone. I was talking about it in a previous video. But I did go ahead and order the phone because I watched their whole press event. And if you were watching their press event, they actually gave you a promo code to be able to order it before the general population, before the general public. So I actually used the code and I ordered that phone. So if you guys want a review video, I can definitely make a review video. And I think it's a really cool phone. I haven't got it yet, but I think I'll be getting it in like 1 or 2 days. It's like expedited shipping. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you're new, please subscribe. And if you watched the video all the way through to this very point in time, then you are AMD, because no matter what the haters say, we always have each other's back. So, and I appreciate that. So anyway, thank you guys. And I hope that you all have a wonderful, beautiful day. Take care.